guys, so today's video is going to be a little bit different and a little bit less lighthearted than my normal videos. I kind of want to go in a little bit of a different direction than my normal videos, only because when I created this channel I had the intent of doing something differently where I would be talking about more real topics and things that our society goes through and how as Christians we should go about them. So it's going to be a little bit different, but this is how it's going to be from now on. So today I'm going to be talking about what it truly means when you say to someone, "I'll be there for you." I think we say that a lot. We write it in each other's yearbooks. We write it on birthday cards. We're always saying, "I'll always be there for you. I'll be there for you." And then when it comes down to it, are we really there for them? And what does God say about being there for your friends and how to be a friend to people? So if you have a Bible near you or you have a computer, I would open it up to 2 Kings 2. It'll be a little bit confusing because it's about Elijah, and when he goes to heaven, God takes him up. And it's going to be about Elijah and Elisha, so that might be a little bit confusing, but if you read along, then you'll be more likely to understand it. And I'm also reading an NIV version. When the Lord was about to take Elijah up to heaven in a whirlwind, Elijah and Elisha were on their way from Gilgal. Elijah said to Elisha, "Stay here, the Lord has sent me to Bethel." But Elijah said, "As surely as the Lord lives and as you live, I will not leave you." So they went down to Bethel. The company of the prophets at Bethel came out to Elisha and asked him, "Do you know that the Lord is going to take your master from you today?" "Yes, I know," Elisha replied, "so be quiet." Then Elijah said to him, "Stay here, Elisha, the Lord has sent me to Jericho." And he replied, "As surely as the Lord lives and as you live, I will not leave you." So then they went to Jericho. The company of the prophets at Jericho went up to Elisha and asked him, "Do you know that the Lord is going to take your master from you today?" "Yes, I know," he replied, "so be quiet." Then Elisha said to him, "Stay here, the Lord has sent me to the Jordan." And he replied, "As surely as the Lord lives and as you live, I will not leave you." So the two of them walked on. 50 men from the company of prophets went and stood at a distance, facing the place where Elijah and Elisha had stopped at the Jordan. Elisha took his cloak, rolled it up, and struck the water with it. The water divided to the right and to the left, and the two of them crossed over on dry ground. When they crossed, Elijah said to Elisha, "Tell me what I can do for you before I am taken from you." "Let me inherit a double portion of your spirit," Elisha responded. "You have asked a difficult thing," Elijah said, "yet if you see me when I am taken from you, it will be yours, otherwise it will not." As they were walking along and talking together, suddenly a chariot of fire and horses of fire appeared and separated the two of them. Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind. Elisha saw this and cried out, my father, the chariots and the horsemen of Israel!" And Elisha saw him no more. Then he took hold of his garments and tore it in two. So to me, this passage is a really good example of genuine friendship. As you see in the passage, Elisha knows that his friend is going to be gone after today. He knows that this is it. This is the last time I'm going to see you, and I'm probably going to witness you leaving to heaven. And Elijah says to him, he says, "You don't have to be here, stay. And he's trying to test his friendship, and Elisha's like, "No, I'm not going to leave. I'm going to be with you. As long as you're alive, I'm going to be with you. As long as God is alive, I'm going to be with you." And over again, he keeps saying, he says, "No," and he's like, "Yes, I'm going to be by your side through everything." And I think that that's really cool because it shows to us how God wants us to be as friends. It's in those situations where you know that someone's not okay, when people are at their darkest moments, you need to be like, "I'm right by you. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to stick with you." And I think that that's really cool. And then later it says, Elijah says to him, "What can I do for you before I leave?" And he could have said, "I want your riches. I want your power over the land. I want all these things, but instead he says, no, I want your spirit. I see my friend, I see how full of the Spirit he is, and I want that. I want to be full of the Spirit. I want that. In the end, instead of him being like, oh yes, now I get this Spirit, it's like, it says that he tore his garment in two because he was mourning his friend and he was so sad. Like, that's the last time I'm gonna see my friend. He wasn't focused on this thing that he had won and he has now. He was focused on the fact that, like, that was the last time I'm seeing my friend. I'm gonna mourn his loss. And I love him. And I think that that's really important because in today's society we do so many things for other people, but then expect something in return, or we expect to be put on this pedestal as this person. And I find myself doing this all the time, where it's like I do something for someone and I'm like, oh yes, look at me, I'm being a good person. But that's not what God wants us to do. Like, he inherited the Spirit because he was there for the reason that he wasn't there for personal selfish gain. He was there because he wanted to better his friend. He wanted to be there for him. And that's really important. God calls us to be there for our friends. And he doesn't call us to be there for like the little things like, oh, boy problems. Like, I'll be there when you're having a boy problem. Or I'll be there when you get sick and I'll say, I'm sorry. I mean, like, yes, that's important too, but it's like, what about the big things? What about when I'm sick and I'm dying? Are you going to be there for me? Are you going to be sitting by my bedside? Like, how are we going to be there for people? How are we going to show God's love? And how are we going to love on our friends how God wants us to? And I saw this recently in my own life because I have one of my best friends right now. Her name's Megan, and she's really sick. She's been sick for the past year. She didn't leave her house for almost a year, and it's now been exactly a year since she got sick. But she hadn't left her house, nothing, and then recently she had to go to the hospital because she was having seizures every 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes. She would have, I think it was 60 seizures a day, and so she had to be put into a hospital, and she was there for a couple weeks, then transferred to UCLA hospital where they could do research on her, and just going back and forth and like very sick. And it was hard because I would go and visit her and I would see her in this state that wasn't necessarily how I would like to see her and that she would like to see me. And I would sit there and I would talk to her, and then in the middle of us talking, just like how Elisha was in the middle of talking to Elijah and he was just taken away from him, I would be in the middle of talking to her and she would just start having a seizure in front of me. And it wasn't necessarily scary, but it definitely, like, I would have to hold back tears because it was just like, this is my friend, like, she's going through this, and like, I hear about it from her and from her parents, but like, I'm like witnessing it happen, and it's so hard. And I think that really opened my eyes to being like, wow, like, I need to be here for her. Like, she's going through so much right now, and I couldn't even imagine going through it and having the peace that she does, knowing that she's going to be healed, knowing that it's going to be okay, and that God has her. And I think that the saddest thing for me to hear was when I would go in and talk to her, and she'd be like, yeah, I reached out to my friend, and she didn't respond, and she didn't text me back, and that really hurts. And it was like, it's people from the church, it's these people who are Christians who are saying, like, who would be the kind of people who would be like, I'm there for you, I'm there for you. And they can't take a second out of their day to text her and be like, hey, I'm praying for you, something as simple as that. You don't even have to go as far as to visit, but just like a simple text, a simple like, I'm thinking about you, I'm here for you, I'm praying for you, and genuinely meaning it. And that really opened my eyes to how society has become these days, where it's like we say these things and we act this way, but when it comes down to it, like when we're put on the spot, what are we going to do? How are we going to act? How are we going to show that we're there for those friends? We're there for those people. Who are you when people need you? That's the most important thing. Who are you when people need you? And also, that's not like a circumstantial thing. It's not oh, when I'm in this circumstance, when I'm going through these little things, like, I need you there for me. It's like, I need you there for me through everything. Through the goods, through the bads, through the really bads. As Christians, we're called to lift each other up. And one of my favorite verses is from Ecclesiastes 4:9-12, and it says, "Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken." That's so important because we're not meant to do it alone. God created Adam and then created Eve because we aren't meant to be on this earth alone. We are meant to be going through struggles alone, to be facing it by ourselves. We have God, but sometimes you need people around you. You need a community who's going to build you up. So take that throughout your day. Take all of this. Send a text to a friend. Be like, I love you. You're beautiful. I miss you. Let's hang out. Don't just say things, though. Don't just say, I'm there for you. Say, I'm there for you. Let's get coffee. Let's go out. Let's go do something. I miss you. Be more than just a text. Be more than just your words. And show that you are there for people. No one can do this life alone. And remember to love everyone. Remember to love those people who do feel alone. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more things from me, kind of taking on life's issues and things that are wrong right now. Yeah, so God bless. Have the best day ever.